7 races in, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series has been action-packed and full of surprises. Early on, number 16, Ron Hornaday built a point lead while champ Mike Skinner struggled. But once Skinner came to life, he proved a match for Hornaday and everybody else. He finally won in Series Race 5 at Tucson on ESPN, and he must have liked it because he hasn't lost since. Next up, Skinner goes for 4 in a row at Bristol Motor Speedway. And Speed World comes right back to Bristol. They call it Thunder Valley, and have we got excitement for you? It's the Coca-Cola 200 for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, and it's going to be a thriller here on the half-mile oval. Point battle, you bet. We got a good one. Hornaday's still on top, but Skinner with 3 wins in a row. Ought to be a ding-dong battle here this evening. Hello, everybody, and welcome right back to Bristol. Always fun to share the booth with the big guy, Benny Parsons. I hope you saved some good stuff for us here after that great all-pro race. Question I have, with 3 wins in a row, can anybody beat Mike Skinner?
We thought coming into Bristol that Jimmy Hensley might give him a run for his money. Hensley last year was going away in that 30 Dodge until the engine broke. But Jimmy Hensley this afternoon in the last practice session crashed the Dodge, had to go to a backup car. All he got was 2 laps. Was that enough to make any difference? And Joe Rutland won the race last year in the Ford. This year he's driving for Jack Roush. We thought maybe he would contend. He qualified 6th. The question is, can he get up front and do something with that 3 car? He has been tough, especially these last 3 races.
Well, coming from the back is nothing new at this joint. In fact, last year, well, we had a story just like that involving our pole sitter. Marty Reed's going to cover the pits tonight, and he started his day at the drivers' meeting. Marty, what's the story?
Guys, you remember last year Mike Skinner qualified on the pole but was sent to the back because he was late to the drivers' meeting? Well, he promised his crew this year he would be one of the first, if not the first, in this room for the meeting. It's just a few minutes ago. Let's find out. All right, as you can see, there's quite a crowd in here, and let's see. Let's scout around. Is he here? Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, we have found the man. Yeah, look at him. He's got this grin on his face. Hey, I got to ask you, let's see, a few minutes to spare. Oh, look at this. You even have an alarm clock.
Folks at Bristol here gave me a little reminder here. They said, maybe you can make it this year. So I walked in here, and I seen 3 or 4 other guys that missed this deal last time. So we was all the first ones here this time.
As far as the race tonight, what do you expect? I know you're not going to give trade secrets in this room.
I expect it's going to be pretty tough. There's 4 or 5 trucks that's awfully strong out there. So we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be exciting, though.
Well, the one thing you learned last year is you don't want to be in that back.
We're not going to be in the back unless we spin out on the first lap. Unless Dennis comes up with something. He's liable.
Well, the meeting's about to start. We got to get out of here.
Well, he said a mouthful when he said it was going to be exciting. Racing at Bristol is always exciting. We'll be back to hit the starting lineup, drop the flag, and go 200 laps at Bristol. Stay with us. The trucks are deployed, and among the stories tonight, the return to action of Harry Gant. Let's go back down to the grid area and Marty Reed.
Yeah, we're in the 16th starting position. Handsome Harry, for the first time since 1994, getting back into a regular ride, an 11-race program. Now, tell me, you did have a touch with the wall, not serious, but other than that, this has been a great first weekend for you.
Yeah, it sure has so far. You know, we made it into the race here now, and now we hope we can finish it.
Now, you were only a couple of tenths off of the leaders in this qualifying round, really close. What do you expect to happen here in the race? What are you shooting for?
Well, I wished I knew. This has been our first, just got the truck done basically today, and yeah, it's our first run, so I don't know really what to expect, you know, so I guess we'll maybe learn something. We can maybe do some adjustment there at the halfway, but, you know, if you're in a Winston Cup car or something, you may know the more characteristics. So it's going to be a different experience here for us.
You know what I love about guys like this? He's so calm, cool, and collected. He's ready to go racing underneath.
Good to see Harry back in the car. Of course, he subbed for Bill Elliott in the Winston Select at Charlotte, but as Marty mentioned, he'll be doing 11 races in the truck series, and all the truck racers are tickled to death to see Gant in this deal. We're going to have that 30 truck, as we said, going to the back. Jimmy Hensley, that's a big disappointment for Hensley.
He qualified 3rd. There is his normal starting position. Where he should start, 3rd spot. And it's also Joe Rutman, the 80 truck. Both the guys that I talked about will have to go to the rear of the field because Rutman, the 80, missed the driver's meeting, a la Mike Skinner of 1995.
Wasn't Ruttman in that deal last year, too? Didn't he miss the driver's meeting? Because they both had to come from the back, I'm sure.
And again, he missed it.
Missed it twice in a row. You need to have a talk with him.
I'm going to talk to that boy.
It's going to be an exciting deal here. They're going to run a longer race tonight. Last year, this was a 150-lapper. They've upped it to 200 laps. We'll run 100, take a 10-minute break, work on the trucks, bring them back and run another 100. Talk to me a little about this racetrack, Benny. It looks like it's actually got a little downhill on that backstretch, but that's one of those optional delusions, I think, isn't it? That's because the banks are so high.
I think it is. There's some of our onboard cameras. Mike Bliss, the ASC Ultra Wheels automobile. They're cleaning the windshield on his truck.
Well, he didn't qualify a lick, but he'll run good here tonight. Number 44, Refner, will start sixth. Brian Refner is the leader in the Cintas Rookie of the Year standings, and he'll be carrying an onboard camera tonight. And also Lance Norrick, who comes out of the Formula Ford 2000 ranks to line up 21st tonight in that Mecklenburg Duncan Dodge. The Dodge is a big part of the story here with that qualifying effort by Hensley.
A great qualifying run, and the truck was running that well. A truck that Mike Skinner, as I said, Mike Skinner was concerned about the 30 and the 80. I said that Joe Ruttman qualified in the 6th spot. Actually, he was scheduled to start in 13th. But now it doesn't matter because he will start dead last alongside Jimmy Hensley.
Coincidentally, Refner in that 44 is actually driving the truck that Ruttman was in last year. That is the 6th qualified truck. So we'll get the command to fire the engines here. Light up 33 trucks, 675 odd horsepower each. Get ready to rock and roll. What do you worry most about in the early going at Bristol? This place is, as we've just seen in the all-pro race, will beat the truck to death.
Getting in line. We see the trucks now sitting there side by side. You just cannot run around this racetrack at any kind of speed with side by side. They just got to get in line. That's a concern that Corelli and Sprague and that entire outside line has. Can I get in line?
Let's go ahead and take a look at the starting lineup. Skinner having grabbed the pole very effectively here, looking for his 4th consecutive win. Corelli, with a new sponsorship from the Remax Real Estate people, has his best qualifying effort of the year outside row 1.
And back in row 2, Jimmy Hensley scheduled to start there. He will go to the rear. Jack Sprague, 3rd in the points on the outside of row 2.
Lining up inside row 3 will be Butch Miller in the Ford, and he'll be flanked by the rookie Refner out of Franklin, Wisconsin, another Ford.
7th starting position, Richard Petty's Dodge, driven by Rich Bickle. Petty's car on the pole for tomorrow's race at Michigan, and Dave Resendez, Jeff O'Nice truck, QBC car on the outside of row 4.
Row 5 on the inside, the Ford of Mike Chase. On the outside, the point leader, Ron Hornaday Jr. out of Palmdale, California.
Then Joe Nemechek's little brother, John, on the inside of row 6, and Bill Sedgwick driving Darrell Waltrop's Doward truck.
In row 7, Joe Ruttman will take the pace lap in 13th. Qualifying spot in the Roush Performance entry. Then we'll fall to the back. Bob Keselowski's Dodge rounds out the row.
And from Wilson, North Carolina is Randy Renfro and Harry Gant, his first race of 1996 in the truck.
Mike Bliss almost crashed in qualifying. He should be a lot better than 17th tonight. He's flanked by the birthday boy, Jay Sauter, turning 34 tonight.
Row 10, Bobby Gill out of Georgia, and Walker Evans of the off-road fame.
Lance Norrick is your 21st starter, flanked by Gary Lloyd, former crew chief for Frank Davis, now driving a truck.
And in row 12, Michael Dockin from down in Florida, and Steve Mendenhall, a Legends champion of a couple of years ago, outside row 12.
New team for Mark Gibson, who comes out of the ARCA ranks to line up inside row 13 alongside the driving instructor T.J. Clark.
Back in row 14, last year's Winston West champion Doug George and Andy Ginsman out of Toledo, Ohio.
Row 15 has Bob Brevac on the inside of Ashland, Wisconsin, with Kenny Allen out of Shelby, North Carolina, a Ford and a Chevy.
Row 16 out of Norfolk area, Joe Gaeta and Jimmy Davis out of Indian Trails, South Carolina.
And how the heck did he make it here? Well, the hard way. Mike Perlbert come all the way from Seattle, Washington, broke down the transporter on the way, rented a U-Haul, hauled her in here, didn't get time to qualify. He'll start 33rd. Taking a look at the field as they come around, we have 27 Chevrolets, 5 Fords, 3 Pontiacs.
Whoa, wait a minute.
You buying that?
I ain't buying that. We might have 3 Dodges, and I know there's no Oldsmobile trucks in there.
That's that new Oldsmobile truck they just revealed 5 minutes ago.
You heard it here first.
A little over a half mile. The Bristol racetrack, 533 measured around the outside, 650-foot straightaways. The corner's eye of the story, 36-degree banking and passing. What's the best way to do it?
Well, basically, you got to knock somebody out of the way to get by, especially if they don't want you to get by. But I think these fellas, the first few laps will be gentlemen enough to If a fellow is faster than they are, let them go on by. There we see our onboard Mike Bliss.
No sense tearing it up on the first lap because it's 200 laps to the checkered flag tonight for the truck racers of the NASCAR Craftsman Series. And less than a lap from the fall of the green flag as Mike Skinner, from his second pole position of the year, sets out in search of his 4th consecutive victory and the series point lead. Skinner on an absolute roll after a slow start. Boy, he's been tough all day. He was fast in final practice.
The car just looks like he's driving around the racetrack without any effort whatsoever. I'm talking about Mike Skinner in the 3, the Goodwrench truck. The Pace truck is off the racetrack. We are going to be in action in just a second. Hang on.
Skinner looking for the green. Corelli on the outside. The flag is in the air, and Skinner gets the jump in turn 1. 5 wide down the back of the pack. Corelli to second, Miller to third.
And Sprague on the outside, a terrible, terrible start. Moves back to 5th spot.
That truck did not come up to speed at all. That's out of the Hendrick stable. Now let's jump on board with Mike Bliss.
That's Randy Renfro right in front of him. Down the backstretch here at the Bristol Raceway. On the outside is Harry Gant, caught out on the outside.
Well, you use every bit of this racetrack all the way down to the edge of the banking and then all the way out to that outside wall. 16 1/4 seconds to go a half mile. That's hustling.
It is hustling. There we see Bickle blowing by the 98 of Butch Miller.
Yeah. Went by him in a hurry.
There's the 13 of Jimmy Davis and Mike Hurlbert.
Jimmy Davis has had trouble coming to grips with this racetrack. He owns a world parachute jumping record, and I think he felt like he was jumping out of an airplane here today trying to get that truck up to speed. But I'll tell you who's on the move right there. That 43 truck of Bickle is flying.
It is flying.
Corelli's pump, the second place truck number 6. He's got a brand new sponsorship deal, and he thinks that's going to help him. Perhaps the combination of that and a good qualifying effort to break out of the slump. They've had a terrible 3 races in a row.
That's Corelli in the 6th. 43 is Rich Bickle. The Dodge truck sponsored by Cummings.
Out of the Petty Enterprises stable, and he is working on Corelli. 2 Chevys and a Dodge in the early running. Then come the Fords of Miller and Raffner, 4th and 5th. You ride with Raffner. Look at that crowd on the front straightaway. They have filled the front side of the grandstand.
And he's on the inside of Miller. Taking away that 4th spot does Raffner. And he has it.
Raffner's had a heck of a season here, blowing everybody away in the rookie standings early. Meanwhile, back in the back of the pack, 80 is Rutland, 30 is Hensley. Starting in the back for different reasons. Rutland missed the drivers' meeting. Hensley crashed in final practice. They're both on a mission here to get to the front and hurry.
The 15 truck that they went by was Mark Gibson. First time out this year in the Craftsman Truck Series.
The ortho, green and yellow, 21, Doug George. West Coast champion of NASCAR, coming back to try the truck series.
There's Rutland closing on the back bumper of Michael Dockin in 64. And some heavy damage to the front of Dawkins' truck. He ran the back of someone early on. You can see the hood is all bent up on Dawkins' truck.
Aerodynamics don't count for much of this joint, though, do they?
No, it really doesn't. And we see some smoke from the fender. The right front fender is rubbing the tire on Dawkins' truck.
Sparks here and there from some of these trucks. What's that about?
That's just the chassis bottoming out, because when they go in the corner, the centrifugal force is so humongous, the chassis goes down, bottoms out against the surface, and therefore throws up the spark.
You talk about a rock on a string racetrack. Is that what this place really feels like when you're driving? Like a rock being swung around on the end of the string?
It really does. Never see Harry Gant on the inside of Jay Sauter. And Lance Norick is going by on the outside, trying to go by. Harry nails it. Yes, that's Harry, the 33. Westview. There's the leader of the race, Skinner. Been able to put a couple of car links on Corelli.
Corelli continues to try to deal with Bickle here. Bickle didn't go out to the road race, the last event on the circuit in Topeka, Kansas. Instead, he went up to Slinger Speedway. I'll bet you've been to Slinger. Won the big Slinger National up there. First win in that event for Dodge, and he was pretty pumped up about that one.
Never see once again Harry Gant. There's Bobby Gill, Mike Bliss, Jay Sauter. That's Felix Sabata's truck, the 42, the red and blue truck, and Rudman. Whoa, we got a crash.
Round goes 11 of Mike Hurlburt. And who else is going to get involved before this is over?
Steve Mendenhall, that's him sitting backwards up against the inside wall, the 32 truck. Tough break for Steve.
15 laps in, we catch the first caution. How about Hurlburt? Comes all the way from the Pacific Northwest, blew up the transporter. Now he's wrecked the truck. He does not have fond memories of Bristol. First caution of the night. There's Hurlburt's machine. Badly beaten up in the front. Take a look and see if we can figure out what happened here.
We can see Hurlburt. He gets tagged. Someone gets sideways coming off the corner of the white truck. That might be Gary Lloyd. Well, I don't say because I don't know. But anyway, the truck gets sideways, comes off and tags Hurlburt and sends him into a spin.
And then the traffic jam behind him as everybody tried to avoid.
That was not Gary Lloyd either, because I saw him afterwards.
Look at Ruttman as he came charging up the inside, saw it developing, went down to the apron on the 80 and managed to avoid all the tangle.
Might have been Randy Renfro that we saw. A white truck anyway. It doesn't matter. There's the results.
Hurlburt's truck is hurt and the hook is on it. We'll take a break and come back with more. We're at Bristol Motor Speedway, the Coca-Cola 200, led by Mike Skinner in the early running. We're back just in time to go green on lap 19 as Mike Skinner picks up where he left off, opening up about a 4-truck lead over Corelli on the restart. That number 43 Dodge of Bickle hanging on to the 3rd spot, and Brian Rucker in 4th. That is some high-speed trucking at Bristol, I'll tell you what.
It is that. See, 80 Joe Ruttman was up to about 12th or something on the restart. He is charging through this field.
They got that baby hooked up. You had to know the Roush truck was going to get good at some point. This is the regular season Roush truck running all the races. They've got a couple more trucks that run periodically with their Winston Cup guys, but Ruttman doing all the races in number 80. That is a fast truck tonight. He's in the top 10 inside of 20 laps from the back.
And bad news for the Dodge fans. Jimmy Hensley in the 30 Dodge truck has had a problem. As a matter of fact, Marty Reed is caught up with him. Marty.
Jimmy, what happened out there? All of a sudden we see in the pits and it looks like something in the motor.
Yeah, something happened in the motor. Really don't know. So far coming Dodge was running pretty good. We was coming up through there pretty good. Truck was working real good. Just something happened in the motor.
Boy, guys, I'll tell you, this is 2 years in a row where he's had bad breaks here, and this all started with a practice crash today.
He led this thing for a long time last year before an engine problem took him out. And Benny, from those pit reports, you get an idea of the intensity of the noise down there. That infield is really in the bottom of a bowl here, and it's a loud place to try to be a pit reporter.
Can hardly hear anything down there. If Marty Reed did not have his headset on, he couldn't hear a thing. Meanwhile, Mike Bliss lost a couple of spots. John Nemechek, the 8 truck, and looks like Bobby Gill both was able to get by.
Riding with Bliss, showing 12th, but I believe perhaps back to 14th after the loss of positions there. Bliss had a problem in qualifying with the truck and almost pitched it into the wall, managed to gather it back up and qualify 17th, but expects to run better than that. Says he likes the high banks here at Bristol. That was Sedgwick, actually, in front of him. And speaking of Sedgwick, want to say hi to...
That's Bobby Gill.
I'm sorry, you're right. That was Sedgwick last year. Yeah. Sedgwick has moved over to the Darrell Waltrip camp and is racing a truck here called Virginia. It's got 5 races on it. They said, we're not going to put a new body on it for Bristol. We'll run Bristol and then we'll reskin it, because at Bristol, Darrell told him the trucks will beat up the inside and the wall will beat up the outside, and we'll need new fenders all the way around when we're done.
Corelli, a great run tonight, not letting Skinner to get away. That's Corelli in the red and white 6. Mike Skinner in the 3. Just a few car lengths behind, and meanwhile, they put about 10 car lengths on Rich Bickle, the 3rd place truck.
They have set sail, and traffic will begin to be the issue for the leader, Skinner. 1 at Tucson, got things rolling, then 1 in Colorado, and took his first road race win in the last outing in Topeka, Kansas. Skinner in the black 3, the Richard Childress stable. There is Refner, still working on the Dodge of Bickle, but they're losing touch with the leaders.
Looks like the Refner right now might be a tick faster. But this traffic is really going to present some problems for all these lead trucks. And just say we see Skinner going by on the outside. That was Joe Gaeta he was going by. That's Gaeta down on the inside.
Rafter picking up a couple of positions early. One of them from Jack Sprague, whose car did not come up to speed and it slipped back to 7th spot. The outside of row 2. Now Rafter getting some pressure from Butch Miller.
Well, he lost 4 or 5 car lengths trying to get by the Gaeta truck.
This is the look out the front of Rafter's truck. 32 years old out of Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin. The 1995 ASA champion.
Joe Ruttman is still coming to the front. The 80 truck, that's Dave Resendez, the winner of the first truck race of the season in Homestead.
They get harder to pass when you get closer to the front, don't
You sure do. That's the 7th, 8th, 9th place trucks right there. The 24 of Sprague is in 7th. The 7 is Resendez is 8th. And now we see Ruttman in 9th on the inside, trying to get on the inside of Resendez. Could not quite make it. They're nose to tailgate, aren't they?
Can't get him a whole lot closer, Pat. Ruttman looking, working on him, trying to find a way around, trying to get to the front for a rematch with Skinner from a year ago. They both started at the back. Skinner spun Ruttman out right before the halfway break, and Skinner was sent to the back of the field. Did the halftime break, came back and crashed in the second half. Not a great night at Bristol. The man who currently leads and is seeking his 4th consecutive win. But Ruttman is on a mission. He's come from 33rd starting spot to run 9th early on.
You see Hornaday going by the Butch Miller truck. He started back in 10th spot and worked his way up to about 5th. So
Hornaday's the 16, right behind the black and gold truck of Rafter. Then comes Miller in the 98. 24 is Sprague. 7 is Resendez, and 80 is Ruttman.
On the outside, look at that great move by Ruttman.
We're going to get a quick commercial break. It's wild action at Bristol. They're running 3 wide through the turns, and that's tough to do. On this joint, Skinner leads. We'll be right back. We're back at Bristol. We're under caution for the 2nd time tonight. Came on lap 42, and here's why. Randy Renfro's inauguration in the truck racing business comes to a bad end.
Looks like he had a left front tire go flat, and when it did, he just simply tore the left front fender off the car. And we see the sponsor on that truck, the North Carolina Sweet Potatoes.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Parsons is in line for some sweet potato pie. And no, motorcycle fans, it's not that Randy Renfro. They're both from the same neck of the woods, but this is Randy Renfro, the short track car racer from up in Virginia. Won something like 180 short track features or something in his career. Took a shot at her tonight. They had trouble.
Lives down in Wilson, North Carolina right now. Meanwhile, the trucks are being given a signal. 1 lap to go and back to green. Renfro is going out of the pit road. Marty Reed, what you got for us?
Well, I'm down here with Fred Fryer. Fred, your man's on rails. What's he saying? Your man is on rails. What's he telling you?
He's not saying anything. He's just driving his butt off, trying to get back to the front.
You realize if he makes the driver's meeting, you'd be in the lead right now?
We might be. He's pretty fast right now.
One of these days, guys, he's going to get this driver meeting thing down right.
Talking about Joe Ruttman, of course, who is currently showing 8th after starting at the back, having missed the meeting for the 2nd year in a row.
And okay, all you guys watching this up in Michigan, I know that was not Freddie Fryer. We'll see Freddie Fryer later on.
All right, we're back to green. Chris Morgan throws the flag, and Skinner takes care of business. Look out, boys.
Be careful, whatever you do. There we see Hornaday on the inside of Rafter taking a spot away.
That's heads-up racing. Rafter a little slow getting up to speed on the restart. Hornaday said, that's a gimme. I'll grab it. And he's up to 5th place from 10th starting spot. Rafter looking out the back now as he is pursued by Miller.
Ooh, and Jack Sprague just drove across the apron trying his best to keep Ruttman behind him. Wow, and here comes Ruttman on the inside and goes by.
That's about the same spot where Ruttman pulled that trick last year. Got down on the apron, got on the brakes, got the thing all sideways, managed to gather it back up, and went on to win the thing. Ruttman, last year's winner in this race, has had an eventful evening this evening already as he circulates into that 7th spot. I'm surprised to see Sprague going backward like that. He looked pretty solid in qualifying. Started the year strong. 3rd in points, been very consistent. But tonight, He's looking for that halfway break on that.
And that's one thing great about the halfway break in trucks. If your truck is not exactly right, you've got 10 minutes at the half to change springs, sway bars, whatever it's going to take to make that truck competitive and be able to run with Skinner, Corelli, and the rest of these fellas. See Hornaday looking on the inside of Bickle. The yellow truck is a lap down. That's Michael Dockett.
Hornaday bad wanting to get up there and mix it up with Skinner because Skinner is within 9 points of the point standings. Hornaday still holding on to the lead that he's had since race 2 with that blue number 16 owned by Teresa Earnhardt. Now he's got Refner up on the inside of him, and Refner will reclaim the spot.
How about that move by Refner? But Dawkins in front on him, slam on the brakes. Oh, man. Whew. Close.
Funny how that hard work can go out the window in a hurry at this joint. Well, Refner will gather his thoughts and try to follow Hornaday through the traffic. Let's take a look at how they're running here. Skinner on top, Corelli hot on his heels. Bickle continuing to battle with Hornaday and Refner.
Oh, and Refner almost in the wall, and Dockin about crashed as well. Man, oh man.
That was a great save by Refner. He crashed it twice and never hit anything. Guy can drive a race car, won the ASA championship last year, jumps in the trucks and leads in the rookie standings. Running on back down through the field, pick your favorite. Mark Gibson making his debut here, currently an 18th spot, coming over from the ARCA division. There is Lazendes working on the 44 of Refner after Refner collects his thoughts after that near miss. Take another look at this.
Watch this. They go in the corner, and all of a sudden the 64 truck just goes up the hill. And Refner said, whoa, where's the brake pedal? But he loses 3 spots. There goes Miller, Ruttman, and Sprague by. And also Resendiz. And I guess that's Mike Chase.
He's pretty happy, though. He's still got the truck in one piece. Refner came out of that a lot better than he might have. This is Keselowski slowing down. But Dodge has a problem.
Yes, he was up 3 and 4. Very, very slow. He finally made a lap, found an opportunity to get down on the inside. I talked to his brother, the crew chief, Ron, earlier, and he said they just worked themselves like completely out of the setup today in practice. Was trying to get it back, but evidently, oh, the right front tire's flat. Bring the jack over here, guys. The right front's flat.
They've been struggling this year indeed, and the struggles continue at Bristol. A difficult place under the best of circumstances. A good place thus far for Skinner. We'll take a break as Skinner leads it. Back at Bristol, the leader is in traffic. The black 3, the familiar colors of Dale Earnhardt and Winston Cup. In this series, Mike Skinner, driving for the Childress operation, started first, has led every lap, and currently leads it. And that is just a powerhouse team wherever they are.
It is Will Lynn, Rich Burgess, the crew chief. Will Lynn is the team manager. They have done a terrific job. Them and the entire crew. Skinner leads. Ever see some of the other trucks coming down the front stretch? Resendiz, Mike Chase, the 78 Petron Plus truck. Nemechek in the 8. Good run going for Nemechek. Bobby Gill in 75.
Showing 11th and 12th, so that's just outside the top 10, and a good run indeed for both those guys. Meanwhile, Ruttman continues his march toward the front. He's up there in the middle of a battle with Hornaday and Miller for 4th, 5th, 6th positions.
And Bobby Gill takes a spot away from Nemechek.
Pays to be smooth at this place as best you can on a racetrack like this.
We see some damage back to the right rear of Gill's truck. Started 19th, is now in 11th spot. I know the graphic said 12. He just passed Nemechek for that spot. And there's 10th directly in front of him. Oh, and Nemechek goes up and hits the wall. And he's trying to get off the racetrack. The right front is flat, and he's having all kinds of trouble.
Looks like he might have it saved for a moment, but boy, when you hit that 36-degree banking, things happen in a hurry.
There we go. If he smacks the wall is exactly what caused him to have his problems. He tries to get down the bottom with the right front. It's just so badly damaged, there's no way it's going to turn, and he goes up and smacks the wall again.
Pretty hard to steer it after that first impact. Here's a look from Speedy. Wham!
Wham! He did nail that wall. And we see some pretty heavy damage to the right front.
Marty Reed.
Well, guys, what I think may be the problem, it may have been the right front tie rod just snapped because they've got a piece out here ready to go, and they're working on this right front. We'll keep you posted.
The way he hit the wall, Benny, it certainly didn't appear. I mean, you don't just drive it off in there and hit the wall like that. It wasn't a glance. He hit it a ton. So something breaking might be a good bet. Leader in traffic, and Corelli may smell an opportunity here. There goes the black 3, slipping by on the bottom and picking up one spot. Now he's working on Doug George, who is back after losing a lap. He apparently had a flat tire and had to go to the pit, so he's off the pace. But Corelli in the 6th is hoping there'll be an opening here and he can sneak by Walker Evans in the middle of that sandwich at number 20.
Skinner finally gets by George. Walker Evans is trying to go by. Corelli trying to dive on the inside. Meanwhile, look behind. This traffic has allowed the entire field to catch up. And there we see Hornaday on the inside of Bickle trying to get that 3rd spot away. And Bickle comes back. They go in the corner side by side. Where's the traffic?
And there's Ruttman. This is going to get good.
Ruttman's going to try to take them all, I do believe.
Corelli's getting the short end of this deal because Skinner's getting away and all these guys are catching up with him, but this isn't over yet. Ruttman slips through. Should be now 5th.
Oh, and there's a little bit of a bump on Sprague from, looks like Kenny Allen. Around he goes. And Resendiz goes, oh, now the Brian Refner gets some damage.
Got into it.
And look who's back on the racetrack. Jimmy Hensley. And Mike Bliss is in the
Bliss
crash.
is involved. Boy, we tore up a bunch of them, and now the Sprague's thing momentary flames as he gets back underway. Refner also gets rolling. They have all been blocked the backstretch over there. There's Bliss. He gets back underway. 3rd caution of the night, and this one took out some big guns, or at least damaged some big guns.
Chris Morgan is saying, good God, slow. Oh, man, look at that. Harry Gant, Mike Chase, Joe Gator. I didn't see all those trucks. When did this happen?
How did this all happen? We'll take a look. It started with Jack Sprague as they came off turn 2.
Just a little bit of a bump from Kenny Allen. Around goes Sprague. Now then, the smoke is so much as he nails the gas. And there we see Joe Gator in the 71 car spinning sideways. Now comes the 44 car. I guess the Mike Chase car. And wow, look at Brevac come slamming in there. That was a 31 truck, Bob Brevac, and he's just trying to start the truck. That's no cause for alarm there.
And then in the midst of all that, Gant had no place to go and ran into the back of the 2 trucks that were stopped up against the outside wall.
Watch this.
Watch Resendiz go through here. Excuse me?
Folks, you see what they see? That's about exactly what they see. Nothing in all that smoke. Bobby Gill just drives through the middle of it.
So Bliss's tough night continues. Marty is there.
Yeah, they've got damage on the left front and the right rear quarter panels, and they are working to just free up the wheels. That's all they're going to do. Is going to be a lot of tape on this thing. It doesn't look anywhere near as pretty as it did at the start of this race, but this Ford's going to get back into the contest. Waiting to see if Refner has to come in. He ran over some of his own debris. I'm worried about that right front tire. We'll keep you posted.
Jack Sprague involved. Brian Refner, the rookie point leader. Mike Bliss just now leaving the pits. Got tangled up in it. So did Bill Sedgwick. Harry Gant, you saw, got tagged, or actually ran into it after it was pretty much stopped. Mike Chase and the 31 of Bob Brevac.
And the Chris Morgan is waving the red flag. They're going to stop this race to clean up that mess on the back straightaway. Marty Reed?
Yeah, we've got Brian Refner in, and just take a look at the front windscreen. It is spewing water from underneath. It looks like Refner's day is going to be done here. We're going to see if we can get a look underneath. Yeah, you can see the water just gushing out from underneath. It's spraying everywhere. Their race is over, guys.
Yes, it is.
So Refner will lose a bunch of points in terms of the rookie chase here. He qualified 6th. Was running inside the top 5 at the time of the tangle, and here's what it looked like from his perspective.
Now, he don't have a broken radiator right now.
But
everything
he's
is fine.
fixing to.
But he's fixing to, yeah. It's going to happen right there. Now he has a broken radiator.
Bliss also had an onboard camera and is also out of it. And here's what that camera saw looking out the back. Wrecking sure is noisy.
It's noisy.
All right, Refner is done for the evening. A total of 7 trucks involved. The red flag flies to clean up the mess. We'll take a break and come back to Bristol with Skinner still leading. Hey, sold some tickets for the truck race tonight. Tomorrow we got the Bell Atlantic Classic. That's the senior PGA Tour with Jim Colbert, the defending champion, trying to become the first player in the history of the tournament to win it back-to-back. We'll be covering it for you at 2 o'clock Eastern Time, 11 Pacific, live from Malvern, Pennsylvania. So you golfers be sure and tune in. These folks are going to party tonight after this baby's over. We're going to go down to Marty Reed and see what's up with the Cintas Rookie of the Year leader.
Well, I'll tell you what, the red flag may be a blessing in disguise because this 1-800-COLLECT team is going to try and put this truck back together. Now, remember, they cannot work on the vehicle until the red flag is over. Now, the trucks have refired, so now the crew is going to go to work. Brian, while we get a chance, let me talk to you. What happened out there?
Well, the lap trucks just aren't giving the leaders any room. You know, we got screwed early in the race and fell back a couple of spots. And that's a shame because the 1-800-COLLECT Ford was really running smooth. We was biding our time. And lap truck got into Jack, and Jack got sideways, and I saw him turning and slow down. Somebody got hard into me and kept pushing, you know, never got into brakes and turned me around. And that's just a bad deal because we were going to have a good run today.
Well, guys, they've already got the radiator. They are working on this, and it looks like they're going to try and put this thing back in the show to score as many points as possible.
Refner leads the rookie standings by 13, or check that, by 23 points. So getting the truck back underway would be very helpful in that effort. Bliss is running again. We'll take a break and come back with the restart. We're back in Thunder Valley. Find your favorite. We'll run down the field. Skinner and Corelli running where they started. Hornaday has come from 10th. Rutman from the back row to 4th. Pretty impressive indeed. Bickle, Miller, and Resendiz have been in a position battle for about the last 20 laps before this big wreck that involved Sprague and Bliss and Refner and others. Gibson up to 15th.
16 through 30, T.J. Clark. There we see Cedric. Darrell's truck involved in that crash as well. Mike Chase, his truck heavily involved. Joe Gato involved. Well, I guess I have 7 trucks involved. Jimmy Hensley had some trouble early, came back to get in the wreck.
Got one to go here. Mendenhall, Hurlburt, and Davis among the early victims of problems here. Hurlburt brought out the first yellow with his crash. Davis has retired as well. And the work continues on Refner's truck. Here's the number 17 of Bill Sedgwick. Our cue to say hi to David King from Pennsylvania. David just finished a trip with the Make-A-Wish people down to Disney World and then got to come here for the race because Bill Sedgwick is his favorite truck driver. So he's here with his dad tonight. Got to say hi to all the ESPN crew before NASCAR organized a little pit tour down there. So all the best to you, David King. And let's get an update on the 17 truck quickly from Marty Reed.
Well, you mentioned about Virginia needing new side panels. It's true. The Wall's got it on the right side, and the cars have got them on the left side. But I'll tell you what, the biggest problem is that radiator. They're trying to work with it to disconnect the hoses to make the changes. You know, one of the interesting statistics for Bill Sedgwick and Rick Corelli, who's currently running in second place, they're the only 2 guys who have run all 27 Craftsman truck races in the 2 years of the existence of the series to go without victories, and it looks like Sedgwick isn't going to get it tonight either.
Sedgwick, a former crew chief out on the West Coast, then jumped in a race car. One of a total of 7 trucks involved here in this crash that brought out a 3-minute and 15-second red flag for cleanup. Sprague, Refner, Bliss, Sedgwick, Gant, Chase, and Brevat with various degrees of damage.
We'll see Bliss involved in the crash, but he's back on the racetrack. Also, the 24 truck of Jack Sprague. He was the first truck to spin. He's back on the track.
And being shown in 10th spot. So in terms of the championship, that's important because he is your 3rd ranked driver. And the top 2 guys in the points are currently running inside the top 3 positions on the racetrack. So Sprague needs to salvage whatever he can out of this as we prepare to go back to green. We're working lap 86 when Chris Morgan drops the flag.
That's Lance Norrick's Dodge truck, the Mecklenburg Duncan. You know what Mecklenburg Duncan is? They make that stuff go around the bathtub. You know, make it so it don't leak. Caulking compound, that's what I'm trying to say.
That was going to be my second. Okay, green flag comes out, and we're back underway. Lap 86. Remember, halftime break at 100. So we're close to getting the opportunity to fix some of these trucks that may not be handling quite right. Skinner may not touch his. That green's been tough all night. move up. Yeah, man, that's close.
The 21 truck of Doug George's kind of goes up and taps Rutten in the left rear, sends him up the racetrack. Now Rutten looks like he's going to take the measure of Doug George.
He's fourth, and the 43 of Bickle is fifth behind him. Bickle trapped on the outside of the lap truck of Walker Evans, off-road legend, who's now retired from desert racing and focusing on circle track competition.
Yeah, Doug George in the ortho truck has a good run going. He had some kind of, I think, a flat tire or something earlier and made an unscheduled pit stop, but since he's been back on the racetrack, he's been running very, very well.
Eddie Reese out of Elizabethton, Tennessee, is part of his pit crew here this evening. He won the Craftsman Pit Crew Sweepstakes all across Tennessee. Got the opportunity to be part of the crew here tonight. That's a big thrill for him, as probably got his hands dirty there with that unscheduled stop for George when the front tire went flat. Ruttman gets away from him now and runs alone in fourth. Bobby's the sixth.
Bobby Gill is seventh, trying his best to get by Resendez. Tries to drive up on the outside because of the slow truck of John Nemechek, and almost gave the spot away to Jay Sauter in the 42.
Gill out of Dalton, Georgia, doing a good job here tonight. Started 19th. Currently running 7th. Danny, we hear a lot of talk about how the truck's pushing, or the truck's loose, or the truck's punching. All the different things that can go wrong with the handling, but the consequence is always the same, and that is the thing once you go up the hill, and we know what happens when you go up the hill far, right? Yeah. Always going to hit the wall. That's the bad thing about Bristol. When you hit it here, you hit it hard.
This racetrack does not have a soft wall any place around it. Meanwhile, Gill is trying his best to get by the 7 truck of Resendez. Battle for 7th spot. 6th spot, I guess.
Are all crew chiefs frustrated racers? I mean, here's Resendez, who works on the Bodine's car or truck, and then jumps in the truck and becomes a racer. And we mentioned Sedgwick. Gary Lloyd is a former crew chief getting in the truck. Does every crew chief think he can drive better than the guy that's in the saddle?
No, I don't think so. Some crew chiefs just simply do not want to be a driver. Now, Skinner, what is going on here? Look, Corelli has closed up right on the back bumper. Is just Skinner trying to make it look good, or does he have a problem?
Skinner's led it from the get-go. Had a pretty substantial lead over Corelli, but now Rick has reeled him in. The High Plains drifter, 40 years old, out of Arvada, Colorado, looking for his first win of the season. Trying to hunt down Skinner, who's been a tough cat for the last 3 outings. In fact, 3 for 3. 5th place battle, Bickle in the 43, Resendez in the 6th, and Gill in the 75.
And Rich Bickle in the 43 started off the first 10 or 15 laps. His truck was one of the fastest on the racetrack, but it has fallen back. So I'm sure that the crew is going to do some work on that truck to try to make it better during this. And I said a 10-minute break. I think Ashley tonight is about a 5-minute break.
Put the pressure on him to get that work done in a hurry and get him back out onto the racetrack. That break is coming up momentarily. Some of these guys are dying to see it, and others would love to just leave the green out and run it to the finish. Notably, I guess the guys up front, Skinner and Corelli, got 2 pretty good-looking trucks.
And Skinner wants very much to lead off the line because it's worth $10,000, and here he comes. Takes the caution flag. He will win the $10,000 Gatorade Halfway Challenge.
So we'll have a 5-minute break to dial in a little better setup on the trucks and then run the 100 for the big money. We'll take a break and be right back.
We're back at the Coca-Cola 200 at Bristol Motor Speedway, and action in pit lane is getting fast and furious during the halftime break. Now, you're looking at the action on the number 3 truck. That's Mike Skinner's vehicle. They are working on the track bar. They're going to lower it a little bit, see if they can get things going here. Let me see if I can poke my head in here and get a quick word with Mike. Mike, got a second? Looks like they're working on the back. They said they're going to lower the track bar. What are you hoping to correct?
Well, we're trying to tighten this thing up just a little bit. She's a little bit loose, and I know there's some good trucks back there that's going to be coming. I know the 6 truck, they're going to work on theirs and try to make it a little bit better Seems to be pretty good on long runs. It's real quick for 2 or 3 laps, and then it slows down, and then as it goes on, it gets a little bit better. But I think we're in pretty good shape. We're just going to make some real small adjustments on this thing and see if we can get out over the top 5.
No offense to the 6 truck, but I think you better keep your eye on that number 80. He's in fourth.
Yeah, the 80's coming fast, but he's still got to get by Hornaday, don't he, or did he already?
Not yet, not yet. We're going to go check on those guys next. We'll see you back out there.
Hey, passing Ron Hornaday ain't no easy task.
Yeah, this guy knows. He's tried a couple of 100 times.
Getting a nice cool drink. There's Rick Corella, the 2nd place truck. Remax, brand new sponsor on that vehicle. That's the people sell houses, right?
That's it. They have a new slogan. In the race to sell houses, or Remax will be first, or something to that effect. They're going to really make a big deal out of this racing sponsorship. Here's Ruttman, the guy we've been talking about. He's up to 4th, having come all the way from the back. What would you predict there, Benny? Would they make many changes on that truck?
Looks like they're working on the front sway bar. I don't know if they're changing the front bar, or just adjusting it or something. It appears to be working on the front stabilizer bar.
Indication from Skinner that they were pretty good, I'd say. They've led this thing from the get-go, although right at the end of the first half, Corelli was able to reel him in.
I was stopped. They booted.
This is Bliss. I think he's talking about the crash over there.
Yeah, I think you're right. He's saying, I was stopped and somebody ran into me and knocked me into another car.
I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I didn't tear up your truck.
Man, look at the work that's going on right now. And the work that they're doing, Dave, is going to make the difference who wins and who loses this race.
Marty's moved back to Rick Corelli's truck. Marty?
Yeah, we got to get these guys pitted a little closer. It's a long sprint for all of us. They only put 1 round of bite into the truck, and he's finishing up a radio interview. In fact, they're doing a little body work on the right rear corner. Otherwise, this truck really looks in great shape, and they're still finishing up the radio interview, and we'll see if we can poke our head in there and talk to Rick Corelli. But they, of course, like everyone else, put the 4 fresh tires on, and he's got stickers, not scuffs, and they'll fill it up with fuel, and from there, they'll get back to it. Let me see if I can poke my head in here. Rick, they only took 1 reg, and it looks like you got a good truck right now.
I tell you what, this truck's awesome. You know, we struggled all year, and I tell you what, it's running right up front. We unloaded right off the trailer fast, and I tell you what, I'm just out there having a good time driving. Spotter's doing a great job, and we're going to make a little adjustment, some air pressure. We're a little throttle tight, so we'll see if we can race with Skinner here.
That's a great way to introduce a new sponsor.
I tell you what, you know, things were pretty gloom about a week ago, but, you know, Remax came on board, and everybody just stuck with us, and the teams got up, and we unloaded here 2nd quick, and we're running 2nd.
Well, we'll find out if he's got enough to catch up with Mike Skinner as we're getting ready to go back racing, guys.
Sounds like Skinner thinks Hornaday is going to be one of the guys he's got to deal with before this is over as well. We'll take a break, and when we come back, they should be about ready to line them up and run another 100 for all the money. We'll be right back. The moon over Thunder Valley. The X Games about to crank up. How about it? You ready for more? 400 athletes, $300,000 in prize money. They're going to do it all. Water sports, bungee jumping, aggressive inline skating. The list goes on. We've taken a poll and decided that we should enter Benny Parsons in the sky surfing rather than the street luge racing. I don't know, BP, did they let you vote or not?
I don't think I got a vote on that. It'd take an awfully strong parachute to keep me in the air, I'll tell you.
June 24th through 30th. It will be big, and it will be on ESPN and ESPN2, so check it out. I guarantee you we're going to see our share of excitement, extreme excitement here this evening as Ruttman tries to complete the job about, what, 90% of which he did in the first 100 laps. He's gone from the back to 4th. Let's get an update from Marty Reed.
Well, you want to talk about confidence. I asked the crew, what changes did you make? I said, we stuck on 4 tires and fuel, and that is it. He said, in fact, we're sort of hoping that the tires are the key for us because that's the only thing we can find wrong with this thing right now.
Wow. Nice situation to be in. Average speed for 100 laps, 78.113. A lot of caution slowing the field there, and of course the red flag as well. But the story all night has been Skinner with Corelli chasing. Hornaday again coming from 10th. Ruttman we've documented from the back. Bickle, Resendiz, Gill. As you pick out your favorites further back, Butch Miller struggling a little here tonight. Bliss hanging on despite a world of problems.
Eric Gant back in 17th after being involved in the crash. Dockin involved, Keselowski. All these trucks that we're seeing have had some problem or the other during the evening. Jimmy Hensley back in third spot, the last page. Those three trucks are out of competition here tonight.
If you've just joined us, Rick Crawford won the All-Pro race in front of this huge crowd tonight at Bristol. The backstretch grandstands are closed because they're doing construction at this place. The local paper talked about the presentation that they made to the Chamber of Commerce. The plan is to seat 130,000 people here at Bristol Motor Speedway within 2 years. I think that should end all doubts about the future of this place.
That's about 50,000 more people than they have now. But they have a huge waiting list, people wanting tickets to come see the Winston Cup event here at this speedway. Folks, it is, you think this is exciting? The Winston Cup race is just as exciting, and for 500 laps.
It's quite a place, quite a racetrack. All the best of the Saturday night bull ring tradition right here with the trucks coming to town for round 8 of their 24 race battle for the championship, and Skinner emerging over the last 3 races as an absolute powerhouse.
Brian Refter looks on the outside at Butch Miller as they get ready for the green, and we're off.
Right back at it with Skinner up front.
Corelli's getting a tough break because Doug George at 21 trying to get a lap back from the leader.
George, as you pointed out, has been quick since they fixed the truck. He got a lap down. Oh, trouble here for Dokken, showing a lot of smoke. Michael Dokken pulling down to the apron. The hood is gone after an earlier altercation. We should stay green.
Meanwhile, Corelli has been able to get by the Doug George vehicle and is trying to set his sights on Mike Skinner. There's Ruttman. 4th spot. Here comes Hornaday trying to get by George. Doug George moves over to the inside and lets the trucks go by on the outside.
Question Skinner asked, has Ruttman passed Hornaday yet? The answer is no. Hornaday, 16, in the Chevrolet, your point leader. Ford moving around the outside of George, continuing his quest to pass Hornaday. Behind him is Bickle, Petty Enterprises guy,
and Resendez was the black number 7 that we saw. So now we've got the 3 trucks, 3rd, 4th, and 5th place car, and there's 6th place, Resendez.
There's your battle. Good weekend for Petty Enterprises. Bobby Hamilton on pole up in Michigan for the Winston Cup race tomorrow. This pole they've had since 1979.
Had no idea it'd been that long since Petty Enterprises.
Well, this is a good position fight right here, but here is an even better one because this one is for the lead, and Corelli is within a truck width, length.
Whatever.
Yeah, something like that.
Goes right up on the tailgate of that Chevy truck. Goes up the hill just a little bit.
You go for it now, or do you just try to wear him out?
No, you go for it right now, because I think as the race progresses, Skinner will only get tougher, and as the tires wear, it'll be harder to pass him.
Said he was good on long runs. Skinner did. Corelli very proud of his setup. He mentioned second fastest right off the truck. In happy hour, his laps were nowhere near what Skinner was turning. Boy, he was right there to give him a bit of a tap. Honking the horn, trying to get Skinner out of the way. Rick Corelli looking for his first win of the year. Boy, he's pumped.
And something has happened to Hornaday. Here comes Ruttman on the outside. Oh, and some crashing and banging.
Hornaday got right into the side of him. Maybe that's what Skinner meant when he said he's hard to pass. Ruttman goes by. Now Bickle will try Hornaday, and Hornaday's sliding all over the place.
Yes, he is. There we see Bobby Gill, 75, trying to go on the outside. Here we go. Bickle on the outside of Hornaday.
Hornaday's not giving up those spots easily, but Bickle goes by to take 4th, drops Hornaday to 5th. Resendez is 6th. Gill is 7th. That's Jay Sauter in 8th spot, celebrating his 34th birthday. Hornaday had a birthday 2 days ago. He's 38.
Back to the lead, and we see Corelli and Skinner still side by side. Kenny Allen, the 65 truck, lets him go by. Skinner goes up the hill just a tick, but not enough. That was a half a truck length, not a truck width.
Looks like he's fighting his truck more than Corelli, though. Corelli putting the pressure on for the lead. Here comes Ruttman, clear of the traffic, trying to run him down. This could very well be a 3-truck race in a handful of laps.
Ruttman. Oh, he catches a tough break. That cost him about a second trying to get by the 65 of Allen.
That's when patience becomes the name of the game.
Yes, it is. You got to be patient, Scotty. Smile and take it.
Well, take it anyway. There's the story. Started 33rd, currently 3rd. Joe Ruttman, who picked up $1.5 million in prize money during a long Winston Cup career, was second a couple of times, but never won one. Now looking for the opportunity to win this one 2 in a row. Here's the battle from 4th on back. The term dogfight comes to mind.
Oh, they're trying to go 3 abreast, and Gill comes in, takes the spot away from Resendez. He was just waiting for Resendez to go up the hill, jumped in there and took the spot away.
Hornaday still just in front of that group, sitting in 5th spot.
Well, there's a record.
You said it, I didn't.
Butch Miller goes by. The Revestis truck still going. And, ooh, a little bit of tap there to the 75 from Resendez.
Whoa, I'm here. Let me through.
And the 30 truck still going. It took a licking, but it kept on ticking.
Took a couple of licks. That's the backup truck. If you just joined us, Hensley crashed in the final practice session, had to go to the backup, and thus started the back of the field. Apparently the engine wasn't blown as bad as we thought, because he's back out there running. Stopped early.
And there comes Joe. Look, he has closed the gap that the leaders had on him by half from what we saw just a few laps ago. Joe Ruttman right now easily the fastest truck on the racetrack.
Ruttman will run him down, and this thing will become a 3-truck race. The 2 Chevys up front about to be caught by the Ford, and this ought to get real interesting.
I mean, Corelli wants to get by Justin. There we see Resendez trying to get by Hornaday. He's on the inside, takes the spot away.
Hornaday is struggling.
And Corelli really, we see that's Resendez and Hornaday we're seeing.
There's the interval to the leaders. Not quite a half lap down as Corelli continues to work on Skinner. And Ruttman is right there now within a little more than a truck length.
Corelli right now is much faster than Skinner. He really needs to get by if he has any chance, because Ruttman is going to come up and and a little bit of contact, and Skinner almost loses it, and Ruttman on the outside. Oh, and contact between those two. Okay, your turn to talk.
Hit him, bump him, bang him, knock him out of the way. Bottom line, Ruttman to second. Now working on Skinner. Corelli lost the spot to Ruttman, but Skinner managed to hang on after the bump and the tap and the trip to the apron. He is still the top dog, but will he keep it? Here comes Ruttman.
And Joe Ruttman goes from last to first in just 125 laps. Joe, great job.
Not a bad performance. Can you imagine how he'd be dominating this thing if they let him start up at 13th spot? 33rd to 1st is the story for Ruttman, and they didn't touch it at halftime. Put 4 new tires on it and said, Joe, just keep doing what you're doing, buddy. Skinner and Corelli attempt to regroup here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Ruttman is the leader for the first time tonight. We'll take a break and come back to see if he can hang on. Back at Bristol, you're riding with Brian Raffner, who soldiers on in 27th spot after the wreck. Ruttman has opened up.
That's Lance Norrick.
Sorry about that.
All right.
Same story, though. He's soldiering on after the wreck. Look at this.
And
goes Skinner on the bottom. Skinner got loose and goes high, and also getting by is Rich Bickle. So Skinner has gone from 1st to 4th, and maybe 5th because Resendez is working on it.
And Dave Resendez, we got to give a call to that QVC truck. He has really been fast the last few laps.
So Skinner is struggling after dominating the first half completely. Corelli caught him, then Ruttman caught them both. Corelli gave Skinner a tap. Ruttman seized the moment, went by Corelli, then just drove around Ruttman and is now, or rather around Skinner, is now pulled away. And then in the follow-up to all that, Corelli and Bickle both got by Skinner.
We got a crash down in 1. See the 75 truck of Bobby Gill and the 98 of Butch Miller that went around, and the caution flag have gone around, and the caution flag is out.
So we will stop the festivities for the moment for the 4th caution of the night. A relatively clean race. That'll erase Ruttman's big advantage. Relatively clean, except for the one incident, of course, that brought out the red, that big multi-car crash over on the backstretch. Ruttman didn't want to see this very bad.
What happened? Well, this already been happened, but what happened? The 75 truck of Bobby Gill, the 42 truck of Jay Sauter got under him coming off turn 4, took the spot away. Butch Miller tried his best to follow Jay Sauter down in turn 1. The 75 of the 98 and 75 made contact, and both trucks spun out.
So Butch Miller continues to struggle tonight, has just barely been able to hang on to a spot inside the top 10. Great year. Butch hadn't been as strong this year as he was a year ago. Mike Bliss out there continuing to truck, if you will. We'll take a break and come right back. Back at Bristol, we have just gone back to green. The restart on lap 141, and Joe Ruttman in the Roush number 80 opens up about a 3-truck length separation over Rick Corelli, who has perhaps a couple of truck lengths over Bickle. So now it's a Ford, a Chevy, and a Dodge. We call that parity in NASCAR.
NASCAR would want it any other way. 4th place car, Mike Skinner.
Let's get an update on what's going on with Skinner from Marty Reed.
Well, guys, I talked to Rich Burgess, and I said, hey, what's going on? He says, the truck is real loose. I said, so in other words, the track bar lowering was the wrong move. He says, yep, I'm afraid so.
Now they got the paint rubbed off the back end of it because Resendiz just came up there and said, I got to get Skinner out of the way. Man, he is working him over. I thought Skinner was being pretty modest when he said, you know, we're just going to try to hang on here and get a top 5. But that's exactly what he's battling for, right?
He is battling hard, trying to stay. Right now he's in 4th and trying his best to stay in that spot. But right now Resendiz, the 7th truck, much faster than Skinner.
And Hornaday is coming right behind them, and so too Jay Sauter and Butch Miller.
And the caution flag once again waves. For what? I don't know, unless there's some, I guess there's debris or something. Oh, a car is stalled down between 3 and 4. It's like Randy Renfro. Yes, it is. The truck is stalled.
Remains of Randy's truck.
Once again, the North Carolina sweet potatoes truck.
Now there'll be sweet potato pie for everybody. Parsons will have enough to share. Here's Sedgwick coming back out. This is all continuing work from the damage from that big crash during the first half. Darrell Waltrip owned diehard number 17 for Sedgwick. That's Sunday Night Baseball coming up tomorrow night. That'll be Cincinnati versus the New York Mets, 8 o'clock Eastern time there at Shea Stadium. So tune in for that if you're a baseball lover. Sunday Night Baseball, 8 o'clock Eastern time here on ESPN. Saturday night we're at Bristol, Tennessee. Renamed Bristol Motor Speedway in keeping with the rest of Bruton Smith's empire of racetracks. Charlotte, Atlanta, Bristol now.
Yeah, exactly. We've been talking about the Bristol Motor Speedway, and if you're a stock car fan and been listening to our shows over the years, we always call it the Bristol International Raceway, BIR. Well, Bruton has the Charlotte Motor Speedway, Atlanta Motor Speedway, Texas Motor Speedway, so rightfully he would name this the Bristol Motor Speedway.
And a great place it is.
Brian, now that is Brian Reffner.
That is Brian Reffner. That is Lance. That is not Lance Norris.
Exactly.
Thank you, BP.
1-800-COLLECT.
And there's the little short straightaway, and this is what 36-degree banking looks like as you hustle around it. Well, that's what it looks like under yellow.
And you can see that really and truly it looks fairly flat, and that's the way it looks from the race trucks or race cars. You can see how flat it looks, but you walk down and look up that bank, and it's about 3 stories high, and you can tell just how much 36 degrees is.
One of my favorite moments in the motorsports history of ESPN is when they rolled that Volkswagen up to the top of that thing way back up, maybe the first time we came here, with a chain and a turnbuckle, and let loose the chain, and that thing went tumbling down the bank, and I thought, oh, that's 36-degree bank. Green is out. Ruttman leads it. We're back underway with 50 to go. Who's got the muscle? Corelli is right there to chase, but Ruttman very, very good. Show me that speed shot.
Oh, what was that? That was, and Michael Dockett heavy into the wall, the inside wall, and sitting right in front of all the oncoming traffic, and the 20 looked like, is that Walker Evans that made contact? Maybe Ron Hornaday made some contact. Someone made some contact with the outside retaining wall, I guess, and come down and smacked Dockin and turned him around.
That restart didn't last long. Dockin took a good look there in the number 64. Take another look here from outside and see who first got into the wall. Was that Walker?
Oh, Dockin makes contact with Hornaday, and Dockin goes down in the inside retaining wall. That was not Hornaday on the outside wall. I thought that's what started, but that did not.
Hurts to listen to it, doesn't
there
it?
really truly was two wrecks there. There was this wreck and the other wreck. That looked like Walker Evans that brushed the wall on the speed shot we saw. Never see Dockin going down, being checked, taken down, be checked over.
Waving but not smiling. Dockin is all done. The truck is badly damaged, and we immediately are back under caution, so we'll work in another break and come right back. Bristol Motor Speedway, where Ruttman is your leader. It's called the Coca-Cola 200. It's coming to you from Bristol, Tennessee. Dave Despain and Benny Parsons up topside. Marty Reed scurrying up and down pit road to get the latest on what's happening down there as we watch Rich Bickle having a great run here this evening in third. Marty, what's going on down there, buddy?
Well, I'll tell you what, Rich Bickle's team, I talked to crew chief Mike Cheek. I said, you got anything left? He says, yeah, we think so, but it's too early to show our hand right now. He says, Ruttman is definitely the truck to beat. Also, an update on Hornaday. When the Dockin crash occurred, he slid into the left rear, cut the tire down. That's why he was in here.
So for Hornaday, it was a stop to repair damage from the Dockin incident, although Hornaday's truck seemed to have gone south on him a little bit before that actual series of incidents and consecutive yellow flags. Hornaday will be shown as the last truck on the lead lap in 11th spot as they regroup for the restart, and we should see the green this time by. Jack Sprague right in front of him, having with a little help triggered that that big wreck over on the backstretch in the first half. What do you think, Benny? Anybody got anything for Ruttman here?
It doesn't look that way, but we'll see. Still 46 laps to go. 44 laps to go, I'm sorry.
Green is in the air, and Ruttman picks up right where he left off. Raleigh gets a good break and goes after him.
Bickle got a tough break. Walker Evans moved up and held him up for about a half a second. Our speed show tonight has some workouts.
Lucky that camera's still working after that last incident.
This is Lance Norrick in the Mecklenburg Duncan in-car onboard camera. People want to call them in-cars or in-trucks. Oh, looky here. Corelli might have something for Ruttman.
He got close. May have touched him just a little bit to let him know he was there. Corelli looking for his first win of the year, working on Ruttman. Likewise, is after his first victory in the Roush colors. He won this race a year ago, and Bickle seizes the opportunity to make a three-turn contact. Tapping and tapping and tapping, and eventually you get him out of the way.
And there we see Skinner losing some spots to the 7, and there's a leader. Corelli on the inside of Ruttman goes to the corner, and Corelli has the lead. Here comes Bickle. And meanwhile, here comes a wreck. Right into turn 1, and the truck is that on the side?
It's side. Now sliding down, and I can't get a number on it yet. It stopped that way.
It's Mike Bliss.
Now that is the weirdest on-truck camera shot of the series thus far. That's what it looks like when you end up looking
Mike
like
Bliss is climbing out.
This is even weirder.
T.J. Clark has somebody's wheel in the left rear of Bliss's. That's the right front. The right front of Mike Bliss's truck is gone.
And Bliss is using that vantage point to, I'll bet, try to eyeball whoever got him in that predicament. Bliss is okay. The former USAC Silver Crown champion climbs out. It's been a frustrating weekend for him.
He's not happy. He's not a happy camper.
I want to see the replay. I don't want to go to the ambulance. Well, he's going to go to the ambulance anyway. Let's see if we can get another look at this. He's already up.
Yeah, we see there he is. We're going to have a red flag condition because we've got some fence damage down just past the start finish line where Bliss was up in the fence and has knocked the catch fence down. So we're going to have to stop and fix that little baby.
That'll be our second red flag of the night. Let's see again what Speedy has to say about it. Watch for Bliss's colors. There he went, right up over the camera.
Yep. Bobby Gill was on the inside of him. Looked like when they went by. There's the fence that I was talking about. We see all the damage.
Dinged it pretty good.
And there's a speaker that tells the fans what's going on, a PA speaker. Well, that's not going to be telling them anything because it's a broken
souvenir for somebody. Catch fence did exactly what it's supposed to do as Bliss got barged up into the fence. Man, he tore it up a ton, didn't he?
Man.
The truck from there went all the way down into turn 1 where the banking finally lifted it up over onto its side, and it slid back down the banking and came to a halt. Bliss is okay, but very unhappy. And we are under a red flag that looks like it might last a while because that's going to take some fixing.
Sure is.
And folks just stand there kind of looking at that and scratching their heads.
We see that Bliss's truck is back on the ground.
All right, here's the one we want to see. This will be Bliss, onboard camera, real time. Look and listen. How's that for a ride?
That's amazing. That is amazing.
Man.
Speedy's microphone doesn't work anymore because it's somewhere down there on the racetrack.
It's right next to that speaker you were talking about.
Man.
Gill got into the side of him and ran Bliss up on the wall and then into the fence. And, well, you saw the rest of it. There are the remains. There's Speedy. Hang in there, buddy. We'll be back right after this. We're at Bristol where the red flag is out for the Coca-Cola 200. Second red flag of the night. Chris Morgan and the crew overlooking the real source of the problem here.
And there's why
the damaged fence.
That's why the red flag is out, because we've had a truck get in the fence and damage the fence, and we got some repairing to go. Marty Reed, what's Joe Ruttman doing in the pits?
Well, you take a look at the left rear tire and you know exactly the reason why. I guess the big question is, Joe, did that happen during the accident or was that going down before when you got past?
Apparently it did. It started going kind of bad, and you know, they kept saying they had a tire going down, but I said, my goodness, we can't afford to stop because there's a giant penalty. But Jack Roush Racing's looking for a sponsor. Honest, we're going to do better from here out. Maybe this is an indication Mr. Ruttman's going to do better qualifying and a little better in the race.
Well, I'll tell you what, you put on a spectacular show for us, and they may still get this out. I don't know, though, guys. There's 7 sections of chain link fence that they've got to fix.
So they can't do anything with Ruttman's truck until after the red flag is over, but he has come to pit road. The rest of the trucks are stopped over on the back stretch. And the repairs have begun here, but this is going to be a lengthy process. This empty grandstand is the backstretch grandstand, and behind that they're doing some construction work. Benny had a great idea. Take all the people and move them from the front stretch over to the backstretch, and then you don't have to fix the fence, but I don't think they're going to do that. Let's take another look at how this all transpired. It involved Mike Bliss as they came up the front straightaway. Now, this is after the impact that put him up on the wall and up on his side.
And the truck is sliding on its side down and goes down the bank to the apron on its side. It's amazing that it did not flip over on its roof when it got down in turn 1, but it didn't.
We talk about 36-degree banking. That truck is sliding on the sheet metal. Here's how it started with the contact apparently from Bobby Gill on the inside. That's Gill in the 75.
They're down in the little 3 and 4. Now they're coming off turn 4. About right here's where the contact's going to be.
There it is. Now he's up on the wall.
I tell you, I'm impressed with that camera, aren't you?
Yeah, it hung in there, didn't it?
It did keep on ticking.
What a wild, wild view that is. And here's the slow motion from the speed shot. There's Bliss, and you see Gills right on him and just wedges him up into the wall. He had no place to go. And in real time, the sound is as amazing as the picture. Somewhere in the middle of that was the sound of snapping fence posts, and these folks are charged with the responsibility of putting that fence back together again on the front straightaway here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Well, I guess I see now, having watched that sequence, why Bliss was so unhappy.
Yes, we can see it.
Truck racing 1996. It has had a little bit of everything, and we've seen most of it here tonight at Bristol, where we stopped for a red flag with still 7 laps to go once they make the repairs. Time for a driver's meeting. We'll take a break. Come back with more as the trucks are stopped on the backstretch. You expect wild things to happen when you come to Bristol Motor Speedway. The Coca-Cola 200 has certainly lived up to expectations. It has been as wild as, what, an arena football game, I guess? Arena football celebrating its 10th anniversary, and we got the games for you here. Coming up, Anaheim versus Arizona, midnight Eastern time tonight. That'll be from Phoenix. Be sure and check it out. It's a little like football, a little like hockey, a little like racing in the sense that they slam into the walls real hard. Mike Bliss is the guy who ultimately climbed out of his truck with a big frown on his face and has now found our Marty Reed to give us his version of what happened down there.
I got to tell you guys, this is the best sight I've seen. You're in one piece. You know how to take in-car cameras for a ride, don't you?
Well, yeah, but it's unfortunate. We don't like taking them for a ride like that. But we had a real good truck tonight. You know, it was unfortunate that there's 2 or 3 lap trucks that are down a couple laps that just had to race us for 7th place. It's BS. It shouldn't be that way. What happened to the 75 truck, I don't know. The spotter didn't tell him I was there. He deserved to get put on his lid, not me, you know. He should have knew I was there, but, well, it happened.
But you're okay, and that's the best thing I can say.
Well, yeah, I'm fine, but I just feel bad for the ASC Ford and Barry and all the guys, you know. They worked their tail off. We had a real good truck, but there it ends up on a sled.
Last year, we talked about the fact before the season was over, you'd get a win. You did. I still think your day's coming.
We're going to come back and kick their butt. You know, we're going to run right by these guys and show them what we're made of. This just gives us more steam, more fire. If it takes, you know, to move them over, we'll move them over. Lap cars, they don't deserve to race us right now. They need to be courteous.
Mike Bliss, he's a little hot right now.
Well, he's real hot. I've seen a lot of Mike Bliss on the Thunder shows over the years, and he's mad, but he's also wrong because the fact is Gil was not a lap truck.
No, he was not a lap truck. But again, Gil should have known he was on the outside.
Should have known he was there.
But they were racing for position. You're right.
We're under this red flag as they make these repairs on the front straightaway for the obvious reason. You can't restart the race with a big hole in the fence. They're making pretty good progress on that. We're going to get the guys at Sports Center geared up, and they're going to jump in a little early, about 10:45, and bring you up to date on some of what's happening elsewhere in the world of sports, and then we'll come back and finish this baby after they get the fence fixed here. I guess the big surprise for me tonight, in addition to this kind of thing isn't necessarily surprising. Bristol's the kind of place where that can happen. Surprise to me is the way Skinner came apart there after the halftime break and went backwards.
I mean, they tried to fix the truck. He said it was a little bit loose, but evidently the set of tires that they put on at the halfway break or something was very, very loose, because even they dropped the Panhard bar, which should have tightened the truck up, but it's still very, very loose to report from the pits.
Skinner now showing in 4th spot under this red flag. We're going to get in another commercial break as the fence crew continues to do its thing here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Under the 2nd red flag of the night, we're on lap 163. Dave Despain and Benny Parsons at Bristol Motor Speedway. You got any cut and torch experience or sledgehammer experience to speak of?
Plenty of that experience, but I'm up in the booth, and I don't probably couldn't go down and help them out too much.
Don't volunteer to run down there. They are cutting away still the bad poles, as you can see, the broken poles, getting rid of the broken parts in order to replace them with the new parts, and we're told that this process is probably going to take somewhere in the range of 30 to 40 minutes to get the fence back in a raceable condition. Whole show here tonight with great potential to shuffle the point standings, as Skinner had come into this event 9 down to Hornaday and hoping to win his 4th straight race and take the point lead. Now Skinner has fallen back to 4th, but Hornaday has also had his share of difficulty and has fallen back to 13th spot. So he is still very much in danger of losing the point lead. And Sprague, of course, getting involved in that wreck earlier, is going to see his point total suffer, although he is hanging on to 9th spot. He didn't go a lap down in the wreck. So
sure gets quiet all of a sudden.
It does. Throw that red flag.
I'm telling you, you shut those trucks off and you can hear a pin drop around here. But fortunately for everyone, folks are still here. They want to see the final 37 laps of this super truck race, this Craftsman Series truck race. Good chance to go get a hot dog, hamburger, a few French fries.
I guarantee you there's a lot of folks there just dying to see that Richard Petty owned truck win this thing. Dodge looking for the victory here this evening with Bickle, and with Ruttman out of the way. Bickle versus Corelli looks like the battle, and I'd say that's a pretty even match.
It looks like to be a very even match. Wouldn't it be something if Richard Petty's truck would win tonight, and then tomorrow Bobby Hamilton win in the STP Pontiac? That would be something else.
Hamilton's got the pole tomorrow up at Michigan. Meanwhile, Mike Skinner, who came here looking for 4 in a row, is standing by with our Marty Reed.
Yeah, and I guess the first question is, do you wish you hadn't made that change at the halfway break?
I don't know. We changed it the other direction, and it went the other direction. I don't know if we've got a bad set of tires on the truck, or if we've got a chain in a bind, or, you know, I feel like the chain on the left rear is in a bind on the thing. I think when we might have set it down, it kind of looped around there and got in a bind. It's trying to pick the left rear up or something. It's extremely loose, and we're talking about right now if it's worth losing track position to go in, jack it up, look at it, and see if we can figure something out, or really what the heck to do. I really don't know, but we're just trying to hang on. It's a wild night, ain't it?
Did you expect anything like this?
No, I kind of expected to win this darn thing, but you know, 4 in a row might have been a little bit too good to be true, but you never know. These guys are pretty shifty. They're liable to bring that thing in there and work on it and bring it back out and take it back to front. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Well, I'll tell you what, guys, we're going to mosey on this way. I think I see Rich Bickle. Thanks, Mike. We'll see if we can get a quick word with Rich down here. Rich, let me get a quick sound with you here if we can. I'll tell you what, you guys are running all of us ragged. How are you guys feeling out there?
Well, I'll tell you what, it seems like every time we come to Bristol, the old floor pans get hot and your feet get hot. But I'll tell you what, this Cummins, Georgia Pacific, Mopar, STP, Onan, Petty Dodge is running good, and I think we might have a little bit for them.
You know, we were talking to the crew, and Mike said, you know, we're not ready to fold our Helen up yet, but we think we got something at the end. And boy, all of a sudden, you guys started moving.
Well, we were pretty good there in the beginning, and I was just kind of riding it out. We got stuck behind some lap traffic and got binged around there a little bit and got slid back to 5th. That kind of hurt us, and we worked our way back up, and I think things are looking pretty good. But Crowley's running good, and Rosena's behind me is running good, and Sauter's running good. So this is going to be a good finish, and as soon as they get this fence fixed, we don't need to see more incidents like that. I'm glad to see Mike's all right. And like I said, I'm ready to put this Dodge in front and win one of these things for a change.
This could be a very big weekend for Petty Enterprises.
Well, I'll tell you what, it'd be you know, Bobby's setting the pole up there in a cup deal for tomorrow, and I wish them all the luck tomorrow because they deserve it. And, you know, we ran Slinger last Tuesday night, and a week ago Tuesday, and we went up there, and I said we're going to go to Kinley and win, and we're going to come here and make it 3 in a row. So we won at Kinley, so I got one more spot to do it.
All right, there's Rich Bickle. He doesn't look like he's broken a sweat. I don't know. You look too good, guy. I got to find out your secret.
Well, I don't know. It's pretty hot in that thing. It's about 160 in there, I swear. Boy, it's hot.
Take it, guys.
They're running the Dodge Avenger at Slinger and on the short track down in North Carolina, and won both of those races back-to-back. So he's pretty pumped up coming in.
He is pumped up. And Mike Skinner was talking about a chain getting caught. When they jack these cars, these race trucks and race cars have long trailing arms that hook up about the center of the car, come back, and the rear end housing sits on top of that. Well, when you jack and coil springs is the suspension in the rear. When you jack the truck up on the side, the left rear tire will just fall down until the shock catches it. And when they change the tires, they've got to have something to pull those tires off the ground so that the left rear comes off about the same time as the left front. So what they do is they hook a chain to that trailing arm to the frame, and that pulls the left rear tire or the right rear tire off the ground on pit stops. Well, sometimes when you let the jack down, that chain gets hooked on something and will not allow that left rear. It'll go down, but yet when the shock comes up and the thing hits a bump on the racetrack, it literally jerks the left rear or right rear off the ground. That's what he's talking about.
And that was the same thing or something similar to that happened to Bliss on his qualifying effort. He went out to try to qualify, and the chain was hung up, and the truck was so loose he couldn't hardly drive it. So Bliss's night ended, of course, in this incident right here as he went out and knocked the fence down literally at Bristol. We'll get in another break. The Sports Center guys are gearing up. We'll stay on top of it here at Bristol. Stay with us. After all these years, you can finally get a daily hit of motorsports on ESPN2 every night of the week, Monday through Friday. We've got RPM tonight with John Kernan in the studio in Charlotte, 7 o'clock Eastern time. And then on Sundays, we wrap up the whole world of racing out of Bristol with my main man, Kenny Mayne, on top of the action, 6:30 p.m. He'll be telling you all about the Winston Cup race. Probably have some truck highlights for you tomorrow night. So be sure and catch the boys in the RPM2 arena. We talk a lot about Corelli, and we've heard from the guy who drives that Petty Dodge and Bickle's opportunity to win here tonight. But what about Dave Rezendes? He's been sitting back there looking like trouble for these guys up front. He's standing by with Marty Reed.
Yeah, I finally found a guy who's cooking as much as everybody else is down here. Dave, you know, it's been a quick turnaround for you. I mean, first half, you said yourself, you were awful, and now here you are, third place.
Oh, yeah, we started 8th. I thought we were going to have a quick run to the front, but, man, it was so tight we tore off one of the front tires, and I had to just ride. I thought I was going to get a flat. The guys, they started turning wrenches and throwing stuff around the pits, and Danny made a good adjustment, and guys work hard like always. But this QVC team is really coming on strong, and I think we got a truck that can win tonight. I caught these fellas. They got quite a ways ahead of me, but I run them down, and it's one thing to catch them. Now we're going to try to get by both of them before the end of it.
Well, and with this is going to be at least, you know, another probably a half hour before we even get a shot at this. What's that do to the setup of the truck, and as far as you guys being able, because sometimes, you know, trucks run better on long runs, and you're going to have to come right out from the bang and go at it.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what happened here. It really didn't take off, and it took about 20 or 30 laps, and then it just hooked up and took off. And that's what I was telling one of the guys. That says, oh, man, I hope this isn't too long. Those tires, you know, they build up, and then they cool off. And then you never know what they're going to do when they cool off. They just might not come back to the right pressure, the right size. And that, you know, these radial tires, a couple pounds here, a couple pounds there. You hear about guys doing it all the time. That's the problem with after a long, long caution. You hope and you pray that your tires will come back to what they were.
And, of course, guys, remember, they cannot do any work on the vehicle during the red flag situation. The number 7 truck just sitting out there, and he's thinking in his head, how many pounds of pressure do I have, and what were my tires going to be like?
Rezendes, by the way, is from Massachusetts, if you hadn't guessed.
I wonder if NASCAR is going to allow the mechanics to go out and air. That's a good point. Since they're going to sit here for about an hour, I wonder if they'll allow them to go out and check the air pressure on the tires and readjust the pressure to where the mechanics would like to have that.
They are radial tires, as he mentioned, and we hear all the time in the cup races about adjusting setup with a little bit of air pressure, a little bit you know, up or down to change the handling. Now you could have a dramatic change in the handling that you have no control over.
Exactly.
Right? Well, we're going to take another break. You can see down there where the blue tarp is, the construction site, one of the construction sites here at Bristol Motor Speedway. I don't know, maybe they don't want us to see this. It's too ugly. We'll take a break. Speed World coverage of the fence repairs at Bristol Motor Speedway this evening being brought to you by the good folks at Split Fire. Enter the performance zone with Split Fire Performance V spark plugs. Well, we hate the red flag, too. The reason they put that cover up there, see the guy welding behind it? It's to protect the eyes of the fans so that they don't look at the welding, and you can damage your eyes doing that, in case you don't know that. Kids at home, remember that lesson? Let's hear from Butch Miller.
Take a look at this truck. Butch, this truck is in too good a shape. You haven't been run into enough out there.
Oh, you're looking at the wrong side. The other side's banged up. I don't know. I was doing my best Joey Chitwood imitation out there, and I banged it up a little bit.
I'll tell you what, we thought Bristol last year was a real barn burner, but you guys really are taking it to new heights tonight.
You know, I got to say that out of all the racetracks, Bristol is my favorite to come watch a race at. And one of my least favorite to come be in.
Well, now you're in 6th position. We've already talked to Dave Rezendes about how a long stoppage of action like this, you don't know what you're going to have when you get back out there because of tire pressures. Based on your experience, because you've got a lot of it, what do you think's going to happen?
Absolutely nothing. I think the guys that were fast before the red will still be fast. And, you know, I know we're back here in 6th, but we're running really, really well. The truck is a lot better than it was the first half. Having a little trouble with lap traffic. If we can get by the lap traffic and get 40 laps of green, we have a chance to get to the front.
All right. Well, you've heard from Butch Miller. He says the fast guys will still be fast.
Still hate it here.
You weren't supposed to hear that, ladies and gentlemen. The truth will out. Butch Miller, he tells a great story about when he went Winston Cup racing. He's always built his own cars, and most of those cars were made out of fiberglass, and you know, you glued them together. And he said he went down to Winston Cup and tried to learn how to weld a car together. Never could quite figure out how to build one. So he's a great guy. What we're going to do here, you can see that the work is continuing. We're going to get the guys at Sports Center all fired up. Gary Miller and Steve Levy are standing by. So we're going to kind of put a button on it here and get the fence fixed, get Sports Center handled, then come back with 37 laps to run and see who's going to win this clam bake, the Coca-Cola 200. So stay tuned for Sports Center. We'll be back later.
Not sure I'll call it either.
But Sedgwick and Harry Gant stopped in front of Ruttman as the rest of the field come by.
I guess what happened when the trucks stopped on. Okay, they haven't taken the red flag out, so this is not a scored lap. I see what the situation is. So they will fall in the rear, and the next time by, Ruttman would go in and change the tire. He will still be in the lead lap. Last car on the tail end of the lead lap.
Red flag was out for an hour, a minute, and 17 seconds to make the repairs on the front straightaway fence. Now they'll let these three guys roll, I believe.
But I'm not sure that when the trucks stopped on the backstretch and these trucks came around on the front pit, I think they passed the trucks. So now these trucks have got to pass them back, and they'll fall in at the back. See what I mean? They put it on the front stretch pit. So when the truck stopped on the back, they drove around to the front. In fact, going by the leaders, now they've got to come back by them.
The last lap did not count. This time the red flag is removed, which would then make the next lap, I believe, the first scored lap.
Well, the red flag is still out. Red flag is still being displayed by the NASCAR official.
We're getting word that they're giving them a couple of laps here to warm the trucks up, effectively pace laps that are not being scored. Now the yellow comes out, scoring begins, and these trucks will hustle around. And Ruttman should be able to maintain his position on the lead lap if they do a quick tire change, which is what that truck needs. And remember, that all dates back to the moment when Corelli went past him to take the lead in the race. And there is Corelli behind the pace truck. Pace truck or pace car? That's pace car.
Well, it was a pace truck to begin with, but 16's in. Marty Reed is there.
Yeah, Ron Hornaday has to do some damage repair on the left rear. They also have to change the right front. Swing around, and we can show you that left rear on Joe Ruttman. They're finally going to be able to replace that one as well. They're pulling sheet metal away on the right side of his truck, and right behind them, the 75 is on his way out. And oops, the signal mix up here. They were going to change two tires, but he's back out.
Ruttman rumbles down pit road, hoping to pull off what would be a miraculous win here now to make it 2 in a row. He having won it here a year ago amid a fair amount of excitement. Nothing to match what we've seen here this evening.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, buckle up. Buckle in.
1 to go.
1 to go.
Marty.
Well, Harry Gant's got problems. You see the pool of water. They're trying to fill up the radiator, trying to cool it down. Now, Joe Ruttman just came back in, so yes, they did need to change that right rear. This really could be costly for him because we're supposed to be going green this time, guys.
So Ruttman on pit road as the field come through turn 3, anticipating the green this time. A pressure pit stop. Ruttman will get out ahead of the pace car, but will be almost a lap down as they take the green flag for the restart. It falls on Rick Corelli, the High Plains drifter, out front as we start lap 166. And Bickle right with him.
And is he right with him? Right on the back tailgate of that Corelli truck. And he goes up, and here comes Bickle. No, couldn't quite make it.
Had the inside for a moment, but Corelli got the good drive off the corner. Maintains the gap at a couple of truck lengths between the Chevrolet out front with a Remax sponsorship and the Dodge. Out of the Richard Petty stable, Bickle in hot pursuit.
Never seen Joe Ruttman, the white truck. That's how much he likes being lapped by the leader, Rick Corelli.
And no other challenger has emerged. Resendiz has not been able to maintain the pace of the leaders. These two guys want to make it a two-man battle, and Bickle is right there and challenging. Looks like a couple pretty evenly matched trucks. Sure does. Chevy and a Dodge. The Ford hopes hurt by Ruttman's flat tire misfortune. He's nearly a lap down as Bickle continues to work, trying to get the nose under Corelli and move him out of the way.
I think Dave Resendiz in the Ford might be gaining on these front two. What happened to Resendiz? He had a problem getting by the lap truck of Lance Norrick and was lost about a straightaway to the leaders.
Lap truck moving out of the way. This is the lead battle. Corelli and Bickle. Working lap 172.
Bickle tried his best to turn that truck and get on the accelerator. All he did was get it a little bit loose, unable to get alongside Corelli.
I'll tell you, after all the hard luck that Corelli's had the last few races, he's not going to give that lead up easily. He badly wants to win this race tonight. Started from the outside pole, his best qualifying effort of the year, and now he wants to back it up with a win. Corelli has never won the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. His best finish second at Flemington, New Jersey last August. Tonight could be the night. He's got the golden opportunity, but Bickle's there and tapped him.
He tried to get under that Corelli truck, could not quite make it. Did make some contact. Corelli saved it. We're back where we started. Oh, and
Bickle spun her around.
And down it smacks the inside wall hard.
Say good night, Rich. Wow, that changes the complexion. Suddenly, Corelli with a big lead. There is your second place truck. As Resendiz, and we go to yellow. Resendiz will be on the rear deck of Rick Corelli when they restart after Rich Bickle's hopes go south with the spin. Oh, he's kicking himself, huh?
Boy, he is. Watches it come off the corner. And the last lap, we saw Bickle try to turn under him, get loose. This time, more than loose, all the way around, backs in the fence, hard with the right front and rear.
Rich Bickle, victim of a late race crash.
Right front's kind of wobbling a little bit.
Bent her up big time.
Yes, he did. Got a great run going in that Dodge.
One after another, the potential winners of this race have hit trouble tonight. Most recently, Bickle, as he hits the inside wall down the backstretch and takes the Petty Enterprises Dodge in for whatever repairs they can quickly affect. That right front's hurting bad.
It is hurt. Marty?
Yeah, the right front was quite a bit of shimmy, and it looked like the crew members were going to be diving out of the way for a second. They saw that thing coming in. They didn't realize how bad it really was. They've got to pull some sheet metal away on the right front. They're also changing the right rear as well, as that one was flattened. So it's going to go a lap down. So Rich Bickle, he's looking in the rearview mirror. He just saw the pace car go by, and he sort of beats the steering wheel a little bit. He knows it's over.
And the crew is telling him, cut it off, because the right front, I think, was more than the wheel being bent. I think something is broken in the right front. And yeah, we see the right front going back and forth. He's saying, let's go, let's go. And the crew is saying, we can't go. The ball joint is broken, or the tie rod is broken. See the kicking the wheel around?
That's frustration right there.
Yes, it is. In everyone's eyes and mind.
We'll go green this time with Corelli at the head of the class. Resendiz now the challenger, and Jay Sauter is up there in third spot. The rookie celebrating his 34th birthday. Ready to have to win his first truck race. Here we go.
Resendiz was able, and looky here, Resendiz trying to get on the inside of Corelli. Ooh, and he goes up right on the back tailgate.
I tell you, Corelli wins this thing. Phil Burnley. They have been all over him since the red flag. First in the form of Bickle, and now with Resendiz, who was the winner of the season's opener at Homestead, and Corelli gets loose.
He's tried so hard to stay up front, almost losing control as he came off the second corner. Resendiz takes a look. Here he goes. Reminds you when Rubbin drove on the apron almost in that same situation. Resendiz once again.
He is putting the pressure on Corelli. Meanwhile, Sauter is there, and look who's looming in fourth. Mike Skinner trying to pull off the late race move that might enable him to win this thing after dominating the early laps. Corelli still in the hot seat as Resendiz works him over. Sauter sits back there showing patience.
Wow.
It's been good. It's been exciting. It's been wild. And now it's time to settle it. We're inside 20 laps to go as Rick Corelli started on the outside pole. Currently leads it. Resendiz coming from 8th to challenge for the win in the waning laps. That's Butch Miller, your 5th place truck on the tail end of this 5-truck freight train here as they single file it down the backstretch. Corelli enjoying perhaps a truck length lead for the moment. Trying to put the Remax Real Estate people in victory lane in their first appearance in NASCAR racing. Be good for the old sponsorship deal. Resendiz again, giving him the nudge, letting him know he's there, trying to loosen him up to get the nose underneath, but Corelli holds his ground.
Right now, Corelli is just trying his best not to do anything stupid, not to get in the corner too hard, get out of shape. And what that's doing is slowing his truck down, and we can see the rest of them all join the first 5 trucks nose to tailgate.
Somebody in there will create some excitement, guarantee you that. Last truck on the lead lap, number 80, Joe Ruttman. Back there with Hornaday. That would be what, 10th and 11th, I believe.
9th and 10th, I believe.
Ruttman's certainly been up and down the ladder from 33rd to 1st and now back to 9th. That battle continues as the lead remains in doubt. Corelli's doing a fine job keeping that thing on the bottom of the racetrack and making it real wide.
It looked like Butch Miller trying to get on the inside of Mike Skinner that last lap, and Resendiz right on the tailgate of Rick Corelli.
Sauter's sitting back there, a couple of trucks back, kind of waiting.
There's the bump.
Easy, baby. Easy. Think about sweet potatoes. All right, onto the backstretch. Lap traffic will begin to be a factor here for Corelli and Resendiz. Well, veteran race car drivers. Resendiz was a terrific star of the modified tour with 10 laps to go. He's about 3 truck lengths short of the lead. And that's counting the truck length that Corelli represents as he flashes by, working on 9 laps to go.
And heavy traffic. 4 trucks directly in front of the leaders. They're able to go by Keselowski. There we see Kenny Allen in front. Also Andy Gisman. Is this the chance that Resendiz has been waiting for? Didn't work that time.
Corelli got around clean and gained a truck length in the exchange. Now here come the rest of the leaders by. Strung out a little as a result of that encounter with traffic. Resendiz will try to close it back up. Sauter, the rookie, waiting patiently for an opportunity. Skinner still trying to hold off Miller and Sprague. Sprague has salvaged a lot out of this evening, given that big wreck over on the backstretch that he was involved in earlier. He's 6th on the racetrack and 3rd in the points. Skinner stands to come out of this with the point lead. Hornaday being back on the tail end of the top 10. The big question, can Resendiz move Corelli out of the way and win this baby?
We saw him just 4 or 5 car lengths behind. Now he's caught him once again. But catching and passing, 2 entire different things. Here they come. 5 laps. 5 more.
Man. Can't hold your breath that long. You got to breathe sometime. Here's Resendiz moving in. He's bumped him. He's tapped him. He's let him know he's there. Now, with 4.5 laps of this half-mile oval to go,
and Butch Miller's
slowing down.
Yes, he is. Jack Sprague's been able to go by, and here comes Joe Ruttman off the corner. He's going to go by him as well. So, right at the end, Butch Miller has a problem. Meanwhile, back for the lead with 4 laps to go, 3.5 laps to go.
Resendiz has got to get in there and work on him if he's going to get underneath and make the move. Here he comes down to turn 1. Corelli will close the door. This is going to be a heck of a finish, Benny.
It really is. 2.5 laps.
There'll be one one more encounter with traffic, it appears, as they turn for the finish line. Again, Resendiz gets to the bottom, but Corelli, taking that wider arc in, is able to square it off and cover the groove. Lap and a half.
White flag this time by. They go by Butch Miller's slow vehicle. Here comes Resendiz. White flag. One more lap.
Well, what's he going to do? Go up there and run into the back of him and try to knock him out of the way on the last lap? Resendiz. There, Corelli leads it into the final 2 turns. Rick Corelli trying to win his first ever race. Resendiz beating on him. Corelli holds his own. Corelli will win it as Resendiz settles for second, Sauter third, Skinner for fourth, and Sprague for fifth. Well, he tried it, didn't he?
He did try it. Congratulations goes out to Rick Corelli. Great victory.
And that entire chest rounds racing operation out of Colorado, that will be a big celebration, a big party. 27 times he's tried. On the 28th outing, Rick Corelli comes home a winner. The first time flying the Remax colors. Corelli wins the Coca-Cola 200. And Mike Skinner should move into the point lead for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. We saw a little of everything tonight. We'll come back and wrap it up after this timeout. The Coca-Cola 200 is history, and Rick Corelli has won it. His first victory on the NASCAR Craftsman Tour. A big smile on his face as he prepares to evacuate that truck after a wild 37-lap run to victory lane, with Dave Resendiz beating on him every inch of the way. Up on top of the truck, and hello to the fans at Bristol. Marty Reed is there to join the party.
Oh, I'll tell you what, this is going to be a fun interview, because there's only 2 guys that had run every single race so far, Bill Sedgwick and you, who had not yet visited Victory Lane. He hasn't made it yet. You just did. Congratulations.
I tell you what, Marty, thank you. I mean, you know, my hat's off to Rick and the whole crew. Remax, Chevrolet, Goodyear. We unloaded good. We came off the trailer good. And I tell you what, that's probably the worst 30 laps I ran in my life. I mean, I was all over the track, lost my rhythm. A little bit crazy, but I'll tell you what, I knew this day would come, and when it come, I mean, it's like, it's a breath of fresh air. I mean, I want to say hi to everybody at home, and thanks for everybody making
Hey, look at these guys. I'll tell you what. Holy smokes. Now there's Dave Resendiz. I'll tell you what, let's get everybody in here. Since Dave, you're here and we got plenty of time. First off, you gave him everything you possibly could to try and get by him here. Slide on in here.
I did everything but spin him out, I tell you. He drove a hell of a race. He had better position on the track, and that's what it took. You know, he drove a hell of a race. He stayed in the groove. He just, I couldn't shake him, man. I was trying to get him nervous, but he was solid as a rock. But maybe next week, huh?
Maybe so. Hey, I want to get Rick Wren in here. Rick, the 2 Ricks here. This is the crew chief. It's been a long time coming, but you got to be real happy also.
Yeah, I'll tell you, these trucks are a little bit different animal, but I'll tell you what, we haven't given up. We just keep working and working, and Rick can drive. I mean, there's no doubt about it if we can put something under him, and maybe we got to turn it around. Now, we've had a monkey for a few races. Maybe it fell off our back.
We had King Kong. It wasn't a monkey.
Like King Kong. Hey, what a great way to introduce a new sponsor, though.
I'll tell you what, you know, it came about a week ago, and, you know, we unloaded here at Bristol with Remax on board, and I'll tell you what, I mean, what a way to go in. I mean, I got this monkey, King Kong, whatever you want to say, off my back. But I'd sooner be, you know, I always wanted to lead these at the end. I knew what Dave was going through. He was pushing and pushing and pushing. And I'll tell you what, this feels so sweet to come here at Bristol. It's so tough. Once we got somewhere with Rick, knew the racetracks, I think we'll be a lot better off.
All right, there's your winner, Rick Corelli. He breaks the string in race number 28.
All right, first win this season, first win of his truck racing career. And in his last 4 starts, he had run 13th, 23rd, 19th, and 24th. That's King Kong riding on your back for sure. Tonight, they shook the monkey. They won the race and did it in pretty impressive fashion. He really had to, I mean, he said he lost his rhythm and didn't think he drove a very good 30 laps, but he did exactly what he had to do, Ben. He held off Resendiz.
Well, he did, but in fact, he watched the rearview mirror so much trying to keep Resendiz back there that, in fact, he did lose his rhythm and slowed down about 0.2 of a second. That's why we saw all the other cars, Mike Skinner and Butch Miller, catch the cars before the 42 car of Jay Sauter had some problems, and Butch Miller had a problem as well. There we see the unofficial results. Rick Corelli, for the first time in his career, will go up #1. Great run. And I'm sure all the folks in Denver, Marshall Chevron and all the other folks are just delighted with their driver tonight.
And I'll tell you what, for Jay Sauter, that's a great performance. The rookie finishing third on his birthday. Doesn't get a whole lot better than that. Let's go back to Marty.
I'll tell you what, this is a real neat trick. I don't know how I managed to pull this off. Uh-oh, look out. This is going to be a... Oh. Hey, you back. You know what the worst part about this is? I got to turn my back on these guys now to talk to you.
They got us last time, didn't they?
Hey, listen, first off, 4th place. I mean, you know, it wasn't exactly what you wanted, but you hung in there.
I think when we set the truck down, I don't know what happened, but my speculation is when we set the truck down after putting the tires on it, the left rear chain hooked up, bound up. And all of a sudden, the truck was so loose I couldn't drive it. Then that red flag came out, and when we got ready to go back, I swerved the truck several times real hard, just maxing it out, and I think I knocked it loose because the truck was real good there at the end. You know, Jack was coming awful hard, but Jay and I was going to the front. I think we was going to be okay 15, 20 more laps.
Jack, hold on a second. You finished 5th. I got to bring Jay Sauter in here. We didn't get a chance to talk to you during the break, but I'll tell you what, best run, good luck. I mean, it was good job, good driving.
Yeah, we can't complain. Qualified 18th, not what we wanted, but this team, Sabco Chevrolet, was really hot tonight. These guys just don't give up, and Goodyear gave us an excellent tire, and that really made the difference tonight.
I got to ask you one thing. One of the guys up top today was saying he expected some big things from you tonight. What was the key? I mean, because like you said, qualifying was horrible.
Yeah, well, we had a real loose condition here. You know, most of practice rained out on Thursday. It's my first time here, so we had a little struggling to do, but we didn't have it perfect at the end. We were a little too loose to challenge the leaders, but the next time we come back, we'll be right there.
Well, let's switch over to Jack Sprague, because here's a guy who, you talk about having to battle your way back. I mean, you ought to get the Hard Luck Award. Early in the go, it looked like this was not going to be anywhere close to a 5th place finish.
This is pretty typical for the Quaker State team. Tucson and Colorado, we got spun out also, went to the rear and come back to the top 5. But I'll tell you what, the Quaker State crew saved my butt, because the first half we were junk. We were tight, wouldn't turn. They adjusted on it at halftime, and we really were really good. We just, the cautions kept falling. We needed long runs like we always do, and the Goodyear tires were awesome. I got in that deal there when Bliss flipped and hit Ron in the back, knocked the whole front off my truck, which made it really push. But then again, I think if we'd had 25 more laps, we was coming out strong again. We just seemed to run out of laps. These races just ain't long enough for us. But
typical racer always wants a few more laps when he doesn't have the lead.
I've been in situations where I'm glad it's over when it is, but heck, the last 4 or 5 races, it's like we need more laps. But hey, Dennis Connor, the whole Quaker State crew, Hendrick Motorsports, Rick, Jimmy, everybody, you know, we appreciate everything they've done. And we had a good run with not such a good piece at the end, but we never gave up, and I never gave up, and they never gave up, and that's what it takes, and that's what it takes to win the championship.
Well, Jack, you definitely gave it a good ride. It was entertaining to watch. Thanks. Thank you. Guys?
You know, you see these guys like Sauter and Sprague, young, good-looking guys, good race car drivers, very articulate, good race truck drivers. It says a lot for the future of this series.
Oh, yeah. Automobile racing is in really good hands. In Winston Cup racing, we have great young drivers, trucks, all the NASCAR touring divisions. Great young drivers out there.
Mike Skinner has taken over the point lead. We're going to take a break here and come back with more. We're at Thunder Valley.